Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week, I should say. Today we've got a special guest with us. We've got Captain Sam Van Bourne. She is a firefighter, and she's going to be telling us a little bit about herself. I'm Fatima.
I'm John.
Hi, I'm Cyrene.
John, did you want to introduce her?
Sure, I will. Glad to. So Captain Van Bourne, she's been in the fire service for the last 21 years. She's worked her way up the ranks and started out as a rookie firefighter to driver to lieutenant and now as a captain. And she runs a shift of 10 plus firefighters with 2 other officers. And she's active in the department's CISM team, which educates and supports her coworkers in critical incidents. She's also been part of 3 books that have all made it to #1 bestsellers. And the first one speaks on her leaving an abusive marriage, the second on working through the pandemic, and the last one with a collaboration with 364 other amazing Canadian women called Pursuit 365, the pursuit of success, happiness, and achievement. She was just recently awarded her Fire Services Exemplary Medal for her 20 years of service. So we welcome Captain Van Bourne onto the Healthy Way Vibes.
We're just waiting for her to come on.
There we go.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hi.
So
welcome.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
well, thank you for being here. And before I even get started, I want to say thank you so much for what you do. You are a true hero. For me, firefighters have a special place in my heart because for those of you who don't know, I've had 2 fires. We've had 2 fires in the house, and the second one was very traumatizing. But thank you for everything that you do, and that you put yourself out there to save all of us, to look out for us. So thank you. So tell us what you do and why you do it and what inspired you to do it.
Oh goodness, the last 21 years. That's a long ways to go back. But so I wanted to do something active. I wasn't too sure exactly what I wanted to do. I felt like I was a little bit behind a lot of my other friends as far as choosing a career, really getting into a job or a lifelong career as per se. So out of high school, I just kind of worked 2 jobs. I worked at nighttime at a movie theater, and during the day I bombed around in a little car delivering auto parts to North Van, or the Lower Mainland, I guess. And I knew I wanted to do something active. I knew I wanted to do something that would help people. I'm a pretty sensitive person, actually, and I'm really empathetic. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And at the time, one of my girlfriends from high school, her dad was a captain in the district. And I just kind of went and talked to him, and he's like, this is like a really great career. It's something that you should really consider. And it just kind of got the wheels turning. And funny enough, I actually went to a psychic fair, and I spoke to someone, and she's like, I don't know whether I maybe prompted her a little bit or whether it was something that she just kind of pulled out of the blue, but was like, that it just seems like a really great career path for you. So that just kind of solidified my thinking. And it wasn't until I was I was 28. I moved out from North Van, and I moved out to Lions Bay. It was the closest volunteer department that was around me. And I had talked to someone else that was part of the department out there. And I just kind of jumped in and went for it. I moved out to Lions Bay, rented a basement suite. Every Wednesday night we went to the fire hall and did our nightly training. back then they had these like pagers. They were like this big and it was red and it was like the size of a brick. And anytime the pager went off, you race to the hall, hop on the truck, get your gear and respond to the call. And a couple of the first couple of calls that I did were accidents on the highway. And of course those, you know, when there is an accident on the highway, it's pretty horrific. And it just, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was out in Lions Bay for about 2.5 years. And then I attended Fire Academy in Alberta in Vermilion. And it was like a live-in program. I was gone for 11 weeks. And, you know, just kind of through, you know, being in person, volunteering in Lions Bay, getting my hands on the, you know, on the tools, my hands or my mind kind of wrapped around the calls that we were attending. I went through firefighting school, and a friend of mine that was volunteering with me came to my door one afternoon, knocked on my door, and he brought this tiny little cutout from the North Shore News. And it was, hey, did you know that North Van City is hiring? And I said, actually, no, I didn't. And just kind of went from there. It was only my second interview, and I got hired. So
wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. But when you started back then, it must have been challenging because, you know, you know, being a woman, how did you find that kind of entering into this kind of industry? Is it easier now, or do you think it was easy then, or has things changed that you've seen over the years?
So diversity is a really interesting thing in the department because some departments have a lot of diversity and others don't. It's funny that I, you know, being a woman, I'm considered a minority. It just seems odd to me. To this day, I'm still the only woman on my department. So, did I find it challenging? No, I didn't. I think that it takes a certain personality. And I just feel that I think everybody was probably nervous. I mean, I was nervous because it's something new. You obviously, you know, want to prove yourself and show that you can do the job and that you're capable. And I think that happens over time with really anybody. I mean, whether you're a woman or not, you need to prove your skills and abilities. And that really only happens over time. There's only so many times you can like pull a hose off a truck and go, okay, well, I can see that person can do it. You know, how do you fit in with the rest of the crew? How do you, you know, react and respond to a call? You know, if you're taking the lead on a first aid call, what are your patient skills like? You know, how do you deal with the public? How do you respond in an emergency? You know, everybody's different, but I feel like when the guys got to know me and to, you know my personality and get to know my skills and abilities and a bit about me, I think it was easier. I mean, like I said, everybody that starts off, I think has a little bit of a hard time. It's a little intimidating to, you know, walk into something like that and be the new person because the spotlight's on you all the time. So, and it's changed. I mean, the old school, you know, kind of, I don't know, what's that movie with Kurt Russell?
Backdraft.
Backdraft, right? You know, they're standing after the fire and they're smoking a cigarette with no, you know, air on, or it's just like, it cracks me up. But like, I guess people kind of relate to like the old crusty, you know, guys that have been around the hall. It's just changed. Like, gone are the days where you know, shut up and don't ask questions. It's a very welcoming environment, I feel. You know, there are some things that you should really know. But I know with my crew, I always say that there's never a stupid question. And if you need to ask it more than once, like, there is a lot of stuff that we need to know. And you really can't, you can't be on top of it all the entire time. It's hard. That's why we work as a team. We work as a team on a call. It's not just me as an officer and I need to know everything. You know, obviously my responsibility is the bigger picture and keeping all my guys safe. But it's a team effort on everything that we do.
when you come back from a call, whether it's a car accident or a fire in a house, how do you separate the emotional part of it? Because sometimes you'll see someone who's hurt or someone who's actually passed away, and I hate to ask that question, but how do you separate that? Because you just finished saying you're an empathetic person and caring, and I believe everyone is to a certain extent. So how do you turn it off?
I think it's just part of the personality, I think, that we as first responders are, whether you're in whether you're a paramedic, whether you're a firefighter, whether you're police, like nurses as well, you know, even our dispatchers. Like, people forget sometimes that, you know, this job is tough for everybody that's considered frontline. Like, you know, my sister was a dispatcher for a while for BC Ambulance, and well, for years actually. And, you know, they answer the call first, and then they, you know, disperse the information. But the tone, and, you know, talking to someone when it's this is their first call to make contact with someone when they're in a crisis. And then I mean, everybody's different. I know for me, and really, again, just the department, I feel, is changing. There's a shift, and this pandemic is a great example that, you know, mental health is a huge part of what we do, and it's gone are the days that you just are like, okay, good job, and off you go on to the next call. You know, we do deal with and see a lot of traumatic things, and it's like that backpack effect. You know, if you can picture yourself wearing a backpack, and every time you go on a call, there goes another rock in the backpack, and it starts to get heavier and heavier and heavier. If you don't deal with the things that you see and experience, the backpack is eventually going to overflow. So with me being part of our critical incident stress management team, which CISM for short, we learn to recognize the signs and symptoms and of just people being overwhelmed. And part of our job as a team is to recognize that, and we have policies in place. We've worked really hard with our management team. Thank goodness they feel that mental health is just as important as our physical health, and, you know, our equipment that we need for responding to calls. That we have certain criteria. So if, you know, it's like a highly publicized event, or there's a lot of casualty, or death of a child or a family member, one of our own, you know, sometimes suicides that we attend, can just be a lot. So there's, you know, kind of certain criteria, but even it doesn't even necessarily matter whether people hit a certain criteria of a call that they go to. If they feel overwhelmed, we're teaching them to just reach out and say, hey, you know what, I need a second, or, you know, I need to take a minute, and we'll pull that crew out of service. And we have kind of like a 3-hour like a decompression time. And if that all we need, like all our crew needs, is to take a shower uninterrupted, or maybe they've missed a meal and they just need to sit down and have a meal and get some food and some good nutrition into their body, or maybe they just need to go down to the gym for a half hour and just have a really great workout and just sweat out whatever it is. And then we convene as a group, and we do a diffusing. You know, there's kind of step up levels as to everything that happens, but so our team will get together and we just go through what's happened in the call, because everybody sees and experiences things differently. So, you know, each person, if they wish to speak, they say what they saw, what they heard, what they felt, what they did, and it kind of puts the bigger picture of the entire call into a kind of like a streamlined story, as per se, because I could be off doing something around the back of a building and nobody saw what I was doing or what I saw. So it just puts the picture, it makes the picture complete. You know, and then once that's kind of done, if there's other resources that we need to bring in, we do that. We've got our employee assistance program. the BC Professional Firefighters Association has done a ton of work as well with mental health with firefighters. And, you know, there's lists of counselors that are occupationally aware. You know, we're a pretty interesting bunch. So to even just dealing with like our shifts and our scheduling, you know, right now my department's working 24-hour shifts since the pandemic, shortly after the pandemic started, to kind of decrease cross contamination. But normally we work 2 10-hour days and 2 14-hour nights, and then we have 4 days off. But right now we're doing the 24-hour shifts, which is, you know, we work 24 hours on, we have 2 days off, 24 hours on, and then 4 days off. So it might seem like a lot of time off, but we're there for 24 hours. So being away from our family it's a little bit harder, you know, with the 24-hour shifts being away for so long. But I'm kind of getting off into a different subject here. But you know, we try and take care of ourselves when we come back from something that's really hard. And at the end of the day, if we have a diffusing and we're still struggling about what happened, we can go home. And sometimes it's just nice to be around your family, being around your kids, and to just have life feel kind of normal. So, yeah.
So sort of to add to that question, now when you're actually being called, when you get that call, say on that red pager, or, you know, now not on the pager, but what are your thoughts going in, and how do you just focus? Because I know as an emergency preparedness coordinator, we would have to like compartmentalize everything as to how, you know, what is the most important, where do I need to step first, as opposed to just tackling everything. So how do you and your team combat that?
It's kind of like, so for me, it's kind of like a light switch, because you know that, okay, this is like, you need to get your head in the game. And it just seems to work across the board, really. I know for me as a role as a captain, like, so for example, we're responding to a medical aid call. We have a computer aided dispatch, which is our CAD, and it's got the address, it's got notes in it from our dispatch. So our call takers in dispatch will, you know, ask certain questions, and they'll type out the answers and what we need in our notes in our computer dispatch, and on our screen in the truck. We also have a printout that comes out, so you can also grab that. But it's really just a matter of figuring out what we have, and then preparing myself and the guys on the back as to what it is. The driver is kind of their own separate entity. It's like they need to take the time, if they're not sure, you know, if it's an odd address that we don't go to very often. We have this huge map on the wall, and we have map coordinates. They can give a quick look at exactly the fastest way to get there. And then it's really just what kind of personal protective equipment or PPE do we need, especially now during COVID. You know, are there multiple casualties? Is it just one person? Our dispatch gets as much information as they can, so they can relay it to us, and then obviously my job to relay it to everybody else. So, you know, I have to get my radio on the right TAC channel. I've got to get my clipboard if we're going to a medical aid call to fill out, you know, all of the pertinent information. I would say 80% of the time we're usually there before ambulances, but on the North Shore we're fairly tight as far as locations for ambulance stations versus fire stations. It just seems to work out that we normally do arrive fairly at the same time. So, and then just, you know, if it is a COVID positive patient, or if someone that has displaying signs and symptoms, there is a lot of PPE that the guys need to get on, like gown, gloves, goggles, face shield, N95 mask. Like it takes a while to get ready. So the more information that I have, the faster I can pass it along. You know, when we're going to like a fire or an alarms call, same thing on my CAD, I've got pre-plans. So our fire prevention division plays a crucial role as us as a department, because they will go out and they will pre-plan almost all of our buildings. And so that is a button that I can press, and it'll give me like a schematic of the layout of the building, where the hydrants are, how many levels the building is, what it's made of, if there's any hazardous materials in the building, kind of just like the simple layout where the alarm panel is, where the electrical room is, where the sprinkler room is. So I guess there's a lot of information that you do have to download, but the longer the drive that we have to get there, like maybe the further away from the fire hall, the easier it is to get all the information out. But it's a pretty streamlined process. And I think the more information we get from our dispatch that we can disseminate to our crews, the smoother the transition is from getting on the truck and getting out of the truck and dealing with what we need to.
That's awesome. So planning is definitely something that you guys really value, because it kind of gives you, what are we getting into? You want to know beforehand what you're going to go into and what you're facing, and instead of trying to figure out where is the control room, it's right there. You can just go straight to it, because time is an essence in all your calls, I expect. But
yes, we're really not going out because someone's having a good day. Normally when we're showing up, it's probably one of the worst days that someone's ever experienced. So I know, Fatima, you would understand that with having to go through 2 fires. It's we try and get there as fast as we can and remedy the situation so there's not a catastrophic loss, right?
I have a question regarding, this is definitely a physical and mentally challenging job. So how do you personally, but then also the rest of your team, kind of stay healthy in terms of, what do you do to keep, strong? You mentioned you guys have a gym, I guess, at the fire hall, but what else do you do to just be at your peak in terms of keeping everybody just ready to, you're on call, so you got to be like ready to, the engine's always running, I guess, inside.
It is. I don't sleep the best, but I try to have, like, it's interesting because it's not just physical. It, like you said, it's mental health. It's the food you put in your body. It's the amount of sleep that you get. It's, getting your water. I sound like, like a mom, right? But it's so true. It's the complete package. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of a bunch of things to really keep yourself physically and mentally healthy. For me right now, what I'm into is walking. I walk a ton. I actually had someone, a local mom, gift me a Fitbit. And so we do these little challenges, and it's like, I try and walk 12,000 steps a day. Even just, it gets me out. So whether rain or shine, I've walked almost every single day, whether I'm at work on the treadmill, or at home and going out in the neighborhood and walking, since the end of May, I believe, or March-ish. Anyways, somewhere around there. And I've been able to maintain almost 10 to 12,000 steps a day. And it just, you get out, you're in the fresh air, you're around the nature, it clears your head. You can plop in a podcast in your headphones or whatever, listen to some music. Sometimes I'll, talk on the phone to a friend that I haven't spoken to in a while, or, sometimes I get other stuff done, but it's just like being out in the fresh air. We do have a gym at work. It's been 21 years, but some of the shifts that I have worked on, we would do group exercises together. We'd have like little stations, and we'd time. There's workouts of the day, like more so like CrossFit stuff. Do as many reps as you can during a certain time. So we have access to a gym, which can keep us physically healthy. And then I think the mental health part of it is more so on our shoulders. But we do have, like I said, we have our CISM team. We have resiliency training that we do once a year. We have a couple guys that have been trained in resiliency to just go through some of the things that, the signs that you can keep aware of, if someone's maybe becoming a little more withdrawn than they normally are, or, our home life and our work life are so intertwined that it's hard sometimes if work can affect home and home can affect work. And so it's really just staying aware of how you're feeling and kind of where you are. It's an everyday thing, really. I mean, but I think the majority of us understand that. I mean, gosh, back in the day when I first started, it wasn't something that was talked about, the mental health aspect. And, you maybe go on a crappy call and it's like, okay, next. We have a little bit of dark humor too, so it's fine.
Wow. What, time flies, it always flies when you have a good conversation. So Captain Sam Van Bourne, sorry, I can't even talk today, has graciously donated 2 books. And so in order for you to win that, you got to let us know how long Captain Sam Van Bourne has been a firefighter for, and where is she a firefighter at? What is the place? So we'll announce the winner at the end of next week's show. We'll announce it then on the Tuesday. So you have a week to actually go back, watch the replay, and type in the comments. So thank you for coming in, Captain Sam Van Bourne.
Yeah, and maybe just if they can have a choice. So it's I'm giving away one of the 2 books. So this one here is Emotional Intelligence, Mental Health Matters. The majority of this story is about me leaving my abusive marriage, but the whole book, it's I believe it's 15 women. Everybody wrote a chapter. It's about courage, resilience of all women. And then this one is it's called Pandemic: Stories of Purpose, Passion, and Power. And it's just about how we renew, reshape, and kind of reignite our where we are.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much for everybody tuning in. We thank Captain Sam Van Bourne to coming on and sharing her story and her journey. I mean, there's so much to talk about, so much stuff that we always kind of, we welcome her to come back, do part 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to meet all of you. And if anybody has questions for me, I guess I don't know how it would get to me, but feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to chat and
definitely.
answer any follow-up questions.
Definitely. So what we'll do is we'll put Captain Van Bourne's contact and information and like her books and things that she's the author work that she's done, that people can kind of check out and pick up. I guess where can they purchase your books? Is it on Amazon or?
I have links actually, so I can get them to you, and maybe if you can post it in the chat or wherever they can go, and people can look that way if they would like to purchase one of the books. The Pursuit book is super cool. It's the latest one that I've done, and they actually pick one person every day to spotlight. So 365 Canadian women. Each day it's a different person, and then they highlight them on social media. So it's super cool. It was all the books have been fun.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll definitely do that. We'll put your links up so that people can get in touch with you, and especially for those that are maybe looking at this as a career, or women who may be considering this and hearing it from you, I think it's going to be really, really worthwhile and really beneficial for them to get that point of view. So coming up next week, well, actually this week on Thursday, we have Healthy Habits Tracker. We're going to be discussing that and how that can benefit you. Next Tuesday, the 26th, we're going to have Happy Halloween. That's coming around the corner very soon. So how to welcome that special day in. And then on the 28th, on October 28th, the Thursday, we're going to bring back Dr. Teresa, who's going to wrap up October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. She's going to share some part 2 of the tips and everything. And also she's going to be discussing a little bit more about iodine. And then that'll take us into November, and we'll be packing more shows and topics that month, and we'll bring those to you as soon as we fill that calendar in. So again, thank you so much. You can follow us on Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram. We also have a blog. Everything is under the Healthway Vibes, and on YouTube as well. So you can catch this replay later on with Captain Van Bourne and all our other shows on there. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll
John?
actually, no, we have the challenge though. We have the challenge.
Right, we have the
Irene, you wanna say that?
challenge. Yes, we're still having the challenge. We'd love for you to post or do a video about what's around the city, what's beautiful, and about the autumn leaves. But if you're in New Zealand and Australia, we still want to see those beautiful posts. And we encourage you to like, comment, and participate. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
See you next.